Let's go back to our top story tonight. The Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche saying that the Justice Department is not moving forward with President Trump's $1.776 billion so-called anti-weaponization fund. Joining us now from the House Appropriations Committee, Pennsylvania Democratic Congresswoman Madeleine Dean. Congresswoman, what is your reaction to the news from Acting Attorney General Blanche that the Justice Department is not moving ahead with this fund? And do you believe that he's parsing it all? Like, might they move forward with it in the future, just not now?
I'm pleased with that decision, but how absurd does it sound? Just 2 weeks later, 10 days later, this big agreement, this big settlement with the president suing himself and suing our government, and then coming up with this $1.8 billion slush fund for criminals, basically. Pardon people and then pay them off as well. So I'm pleased that is dead. It was very strange that Mr. Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche would not commit to putting that in writing because, of course, the agreement is in writing. So it's very important that not remain open with the slush fund in writing. But he wouldn't, for whatever reason, come up with that.
What do you make of Blanche's assertion to the ranking Democrat, Rosa DeLauro, that the provision that would bar the IRS from probing Trump or Trump's family or Trump's businesses' past tax returns, tax filings, that will remain in place? That's not going anywhere.
Well, it shows just how absolutely conflicted this man is. And that was my line of question. Of course, it went toward justice for Epstein survivors. But an absolute absurd agreement. If you read that very brief agreement, which he is the signer on, it offers amnesty to the president, to his family, for all of their enterprises in terms of tax liability. Forbes and others have estimated that for this year alone, that would be more than $100 million in tax freedom. Jake, I have a simple question. Who asks for such tax freedom? Who asks for that kind of amnesty? And by the way, all my family and all my businesses too. This is a very corrupted Department of Justice when they're signing up agreements like this. And of course, Blanche said he was not going to rescind that one.
You noted that you asked the Acting Attorney General about the Justice Department's handling or mishandling of the Epstein case. Because you'd had a conversation with him prior to the public hearing, I want to play some of the exchange because it was pretty heated.
Is your obligation to the victims and survivors of Epstein's heinous crimes and all his perpetrators, or is your first obligation to the President of the United States?
So without a doubt, we want to bring justice to every victim.
When will you bring that justice?
Can I please finish?
He told me that the victims didn't give good names.
Let me be crystal clear that this Department of Justice will always protect victims and will always prosecute anybody we can, okay? Full stop, no ifs, ands, or buts, okay? What you are showing in a game of showmanship are redactions because of victims.
What else did he tell you privately that you're able to share with us that you would have brought up today if time had allowed?
Well, he actually did blame the victims to me, to my face, when I said, when are you going to begin the prosecutions? Because after all, we have one dead guy and we have a lady in a summer camp, and that's it for more than 1,000 children, girls and women who were trafficked, raped, sexually assaulted by Epstein and the other perpetrators. And you know what he said to me at the Department of Justice, just privately between us? He blamed the victims. Well, they didn't give us the names. I said, you're the top prosecutor in the United States. I would think you'd be chomping at the bit to get to prosecuting. What I walked away with was the cover-up is complete. He blames the victims for not giving names. The victims have said, please meet with us. And the Department of Justice has not met with them. And of course, there is 20 years of investigation. The names are known to this Department of Justice, to this Acting Attorney General. But remember, he was paid nearly $10 million a year or so ago to defend Donald Trump as a private attorney. He then hung a 30-foot banner on the Department of Justice, which I think is grotesque and revealing of the failure of independence of the Department of Justice, a menacing Trump face as the face of the DOJ. And then, do you know what he said when he was asked if he doesn't get to be completed or to be approved as Attorney General? He said, I would say to the President, I love you, sir. The guy is under terrible conflict. You could see he was quite dismissive and agitated in our conversation, both at the Department of Justice privately, but then publicly before the American people. He has no interest in pursuing justice, and that's what I'm going to keep pushing for.
Democratic Congresswoman Madeleine Dean from the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, thank you so much. I appreciate you being with us today.